What is up, everybody? Welcome to the 12 Duels, Episode 2. I'm your host, Delthius. How's it going, guys? I'm doing pretty good. I'm super excited to get into these games today. The Episode 1, if you guys haven't seen the recap to that, gentleman made an awesome little Gazette post in the 12 Duels Discord, so check that out. Or if you want to see it live, the first episode was on Witty Pun 7's Twitch channel, aka Big Pimpatosh, so you can check it out there. But we are hopping right into Episode 2, and I'll give it a little... Let me see if I do this right. Okay, that's fine. Little recap. Bam! Look at this fancy thing, courtesy of Massive Stealth. So this is our scoreboard tracker here. And spoiler alert, we are going to review a little bit of what happened on Episode 1. So Pingu managed to knock out Pyle and Ziggy with a huge upset, so congratulations to Pingu. Really kicking some ass there. And Eel made it all the way to Big Pimpatosh with 2 lives left. And I believe that's where they're going to pick it up. So, bam. Okay. I'm going to be using that to track the score. And I've also got the handy-dandy scoreboard on the bottom of the screen. So we've got a lot to get through today, guys. So we're going to try to get through 4 of the beginning arcs, and we're going to start with Iris. Let me make sure everything is good on my end. I feel like I should be a little louder. Bam. Okay. Let me know how that audio is, if it's wrong. So cool. Let's hop into it. So the replays are kind of spoiler-proof, so keep that in mind. It's not necessarily going to be 3 games here in the first duel. It's just, you know, what if it's 1 or 2 games? We put that extra dummy game in just so you can't kind of extrapolate the result from seeing the match list. But anyways, guys, let's hop into it. Game number 1. Okay, in the bottom, our duelist, Pingu. And his opponent up top, we've got the challenger, Iris. Alright, man, this is going to be a spicy match here. You know, if I was a betting man and I believe in the prediction contest, I certainly reflected this. But, you know, you'd think Iris would probably be favored to win this. You know, Iris is consistently a high-level player, always doing really well in events that we do, always on the top of the ladder. But Pingu, man, off Episode 1, you know, managing to take down some really strong opponents, 3-0, so... I'm curious how this is going to go down. Nothing crazy so far. Both players look like they're gearing up towards 8 farm openings. Oh, Premium Bo's got the betting going on. Thank you so much, man. If you're new to the channel, you can exclamation mark bets and then the choices that are in the blue chat there. And use your woof coins to throw down who you think will win this. Okay, so nothing crazy so far. Actually, Preview, I don't think betting would be good because I think well, you'd have to ask the gentleman, but I think the results are posted already if somebody wanted spoilies. I'm not sure if the spreadsheet is up to date before or after the episodes. But anyways, guys, getting back into this game. Both players look like they want to take some expansions. No huge choices made just yet. Iris throwing down that 3rd Tier 1 Warren, so that kind of, to me, signals a little bit of aggression. Typically, you'll see 2 Tier 1 into Tier 2 or into an expansion, so the 3rd Tier 1, you know, we might get caught in kind of Tier 1 chicken here. You know, oh, there we go. Did Iris get the scout off on that chameleon? Okay, he did. Well, on the ferret, rather. So he's going to match that with his own Tier 2. Alright, Iris taking that expansion. So both players just kind of geared up for a macro game here. They want to get out their Tier 2 units. They probably want to expand. You know, Pingu could certainly still opt for like a 1 base all-in push and try to capitalize on the fact that Iris is throwing down a little bit of money onto a 2nd base and kind of hit in there where he's got, you know, more Tier 1. Yeah, so far Pingu is still being pretty aggressive. Right now the difference between units is not very much. A chameleon's on the board. Let's see how well Iris can pilot this chameleon. So far it is doing very well and cleans up that engagement quite nicely as, you know, chameleons are going to be better in skirmishes like that than the ferrets. You really want to use these ferrets to try to poke and delay direct engagements and try to get some damage in between skirmishes. No one knows the results but the participants. Okay, then I guess betting's good. I wasn't sure because I know there is a spreadsheet tracker. I kept my eyes off it because I never know the results of any game before I cast it. I don't think I ever have, now that I think about it, and I've casted quite a few games. But yeah, I don't know, it's fun for me. I feel like it would affect my cast if I knew what was going to happen, you know? Alright, so, another engagement here. Iris wants to shut down the second base attempt from Pingu, and so far these chameleons are doing a lot of work. You know, I don't think the ferrets were the best choice here. I think Pingu was maybe feeling like Iris was going to invest more in economy. I feel like if Pingu would have went Falcons instead of the ferrets, yeah, he realizes the ferrets aren't working, goes ahead and sells them off. But the ferrets would have kind of went more toe-to-toe in direct combat, you know, which is kind of what we've seen here. Iris has not been passive, and now he's starting to get a nice little economic advantage, kind of sneaking in a farm or two in between engagements. Not really committing super hard to that second base. He wants to keep the pressure on. He's got that campfire open now, so he might just go ahead and grab that as well, yeah. Oh no, it looks like he's going to do a little lizard attack over on the flank. Let's see if Pingu can identify this. Okay, yeah, he sees it, pushes Iris back for now. Pingu loves ferrets. Oh man, I love ferrets too. Don't get me wrong. Man, I had a lot of fun. I was playing Tooth and Tail for like an hour or two before the stream started. I got some ranked games in, got my ranked points score. I think I'm like around 400 now. Started to get the grind on. I was doing fairly well. Okay, so once again, Pingu is trying to take this front base. He absolutely has to, as the 5-minute mark is about to hit, where 4 of your starting farms are all going to mine out. Iris again coming in with some harassment. He's going to go ahead and just grab this campfire because it's in the way. Oh, and there is a little slip for him to get in. He's going to be able to grab this tier 2. Very nice for Iris here. Oh, and he's even going to get the ferret that is, or the falcon rather. That's absolutely huge. And this is rough for Pingu, man. He's got to throw down some farms, but he's kind of behind in every aspect of this game at the moment. I feel like Iris has got the better armor. He's got the better economy. He does have some falcons, though, and in prolonged engagements with a lot of tier 1, falcons really do shine. You know, if they're properly kind of kept to the back, you know, control it a little bit if the opponent tries to come in and target them. Because if your opponent really hard targets your falcons and you scoot them back, then their army is going to start running through yours, you know. So Pingu up here, Iris moving in. He's just got overwhelming numbers, but so far the falcons are still in the sky. However, it's not going to be enough as the swarm of squirrels approaches for Iris. Those chameleons doing their job on the front line tanking. That first base has been successfully thwarted, and I think that's about it. Pingu's going to tap out. Nicely done by Sir Iris. Okay. So we're on Duel 2 now, which is going to be up against Parsival. Bam. Do I have to do a little scooting? Looks pretty good. Alright, so Iris manages to get through Pingu with all of his lives left. Sad, and this is how this works, right? So I take Iris down here and I'm like, do it. And then I scoot him over to Parsival. So he's still got 3 lives. Okay. Alright, my scoreboard looks good. We're on duel number 2 with Iris, going up against Parsival. Okay, and the betting has begun, so throw those wolf coins down, guys. And let's see what's going to happen here, hopping into duel number 2. Spawning in the bottom, we've got the challenger, Iris, and his opponent in the top left, the duelist, Parsival. Alright, both players rocking the boar. I feel like this is pretty similar to what Iris ran last time. I don't quite remember if he had falcons, but I do know he had the squizzard chameleon in his composition. We also see chameleons here for Parsival. A little light on the tier 1. He does have the pigeons. I think the idea with the pigeons is probably to help keep the chameleons alive on the front, or just kind of stack with that massive HP pool of the boar. So we'll see how this game progresses. And nothing crazy so far. Nobody opting for any kind of shenanigans. And man, I gotta say, I've been loving lizards in right now. Now, I do understand, you know, I'm still kind of playing against whoever. I haven't fought, you know, really top tier player yet, lately anyways. But today I was having so much success with the lizards. I really feel like there's a lot of room for them in the current meta because we don't see as many toads. Like, I feel like Squirrel Toad Mole is still out there and it's still very strong, but I feel like, you know, something like Squirrel Lizard Mole is probably pretty viable as well. And yeah, the toads kind of help you out in a direct engagement more than the lizards, I feel like, but just the play style that the lizards allow you to do, you know, like use 6 or 9, you sneak in a backdoor, snipe a Warren, snipe a farm, as we saw Iris do last game, like, that can add a lot to your play style or help you come back from a deficit. So I've been having a lot of fun with lizards lately. Like, in the previous patch, you know, people still use lizards, but toads were very strong, and toad was like a unit you're going to run into all the time, you know what I mean? And people were running toads, not necessarily just to counter lizards, but just because they made really good army compositions. So now I feel like lizards have a little bit more freedom than they did. Somebody, something's happening in the chat. I guess trying to bet or something. Oh, yeah. Okay, anyways, guys. We see both players advancing into the Chameleons. Not a whole lot's happened just yet. Iris has taken his Gristmill, so has Parsival. Parsival hasn't quite yet committed to a farm on it. Yeah, there he goes. I feel like if you're gonna take a Gristmill, you might as well throw at least one farm on it. And no, Iris actually saying, you don't know what you're talking about, Delthius, and selling that. I think the idea, yeah, this is exactly what Iris wants to see. So this is kind of mind games, right? Like, you really hope that Parsival wouldn't get that scout. I think the intent there with Iris was he was trying to threaten, you know, throwing down a bunch of tier 1s after you think I'm going to start farming. And now he sees Parsival is farming, but I guess he changed his mind on going for a more all-in approach and just decides to grab some farms of his own. And there's a nice little position here for some lizard harassment. However, his lizards aren't all together yet. They're taking some pre-damage from those cabins. He should still be able to get in here and get a farm, or a pig rather. Yeah, he gets one. Trades 1 pig for 3 lizards. That's a fine trade anytime. Oh, B-Boop's the only one who bet on Parsival, huh? Looking to go big. You know, don't underestimate Parsival, man. He might take it. So far, nothing. No players in really a better position than the other. I mean, I guess if you're really nitpicking, you could say Iris does have a little bit of an advantage here, but he hasn't done enough crippling. Nice sell there. Yeah, right there he's going to lose 2 lizards for nothing, so that certainly helps Parsival. And he's probably going to lose this additional lizard off the rally on his commander died. Yep, there you go. So some good value there for Parsival. Parsival does get the Boar Warren thrown down immediately off the back of that, so he's hoping to wait a couple minutes, get that boar on the field, and push big. Let's see what Iris wants to do. He's kind of looking like he might throw down his own Boar Warren, kind of going to the south of his base. Let's see if that's what it's going to be. Yeah, he's trying to find a spot for it. Here comes Parsival to scout. He's going to wait for the rat to die, come out, place his Warren. So both players going into a big boar style here. This is really cool. I feel like this game is still even enough, you know? This could certainly still go either way. And the question is Iris going to get the scout off on the tier 3 here? That's really what he needs to see. Doesn't quite get it. He's going to try to come back in, and he sees it. So very nice. He knows the Boar Warren is up for Parsival. He knows the tier 3 is on the way, and he knows his opponent's tier 3 is ahead of his. I don't think it's so far ahead of his that it will really matter, but Parsival will have a window, and on a map with such short rush distance here, you know, that's not insignificant. Parsival, if he pulls the trigger right when that boar hits the board, he's gonna be at a pretty serious advantage. Iris knows he needs to buy himself some time, but he supply blocked himself, which is exactly the worst thing to happen for him right now, because the timing's going to be so critical here. The boar still hasn't started. He's got the chameleon off to the side, and he's trying to position his lizards as well. I wonder if he's going to try to surround this boar with these chameleons. Here's the boar. Is Parsival going to push? This is his opportunity. Iris's boar is very far away. Iris spreading his army out thin. This might bite him in the butt here as these squirrels are going to come into this engagement with no backup. Iris is setting himself up for a counterattack. He knows he's not going to be able to win the fight with the boar. Instead, he's going to go into a base race scenario. He already set himself up with a 3 o'clock gristmill. Oh man, what's he got? Two chameleons and 5 lizards. Is it going to be enough? Parzival pulls his units back. He's got to defend this gristmill or he's going to get knocked out. I think he's going to be able to. Smart decision making there from Iris, but Parzival pulling back in time, kind of realizing what's going on. And now he's got a very dominant army. Iris just wants to get this boar out, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And it looks like Beboop might be right. Trying to get this board through, it's going to blow up on the units, but it's not going to deal that much damage. Iris doesn't have anything. I think he's trying to feign an attack, and it's working. This is very smart from Iris. Kind of bluffed having some chameleons or having some lizards with him. And Parzival rightly turned around, I suppose. You know, there's no reason. Yeah, that's very smart. Get another gristmill up. I'd even grab that gristmill too. You know, that way you're not so stretched thin. But this game is essentially over, guys. Let's see if Iris can make a comeback. But I think it's warranted to do a little fast forwarding here. Parzival is so nervous about there being something. He is very, very paranoid. Now Iris has managed to get up a handful of lizards. This certainly is enough to snipe a gristmill. But Parzival's taking it slow. And I don't think there's really a way, like, I'm not worried for Parzival that he's playing so slowly, because I think Parzival's so far ahead that there's not really a way for Iris to come back in if the game stabilizes, unless he just somehow got 8 farms up, you know, was left alone. But even if that happened, you know, Parzival's got so many units on him, but he's going to get caught with all his pigeons right here if he's not careful. Maybe he was trying to bait these lizards out, and it was successful. Parzival should just keep a couple of chameleons at home, man, and send everything else to go get them. But I feel like Parzival is being a little too cautious here because, you know, he's got so many gristmills on the map, and he could, like, take this one. He's got a lot of money in the bank. He could basically take this gristmill from Iris and then just repurchase it himself, you know. But Iris, if Iris somehow sneaks this out, that would be so wild. Okay, Iris looks like he's gonna get this gristmill. Okay, yeah, Parzival is hip to it now. I think he realizes, wait a minute, if I just go kill his gristmill and take it, you know, he's not gonna be able to take all my stuff before then. 1 lizard for Iris here. You know, never say never. Iris staying in the game to the last minute, but Parzival is gonna win this one and take a life away from Iris. Bam. Let me update my little tracker. Doof. Okay. Alright, so that means we're hopping into Iris versus Parzival round 2 here, with Iris having 2 lives remaining. Spawning in the bottom, we've got Parzival. And his opponent up top, Iris. Alright. Yeah, Iris is sticking with this deck. I don't mind that at all. You know, if you have a nice, well-rounded deck, there's a lot of sub-builds and variants you could do in it. You know, for example, with Iris's build, he could go for some chameleons early and try to bully his opponent with like a tier 2 timing. He could go 4-farm double lizard, which can always punish an opponent who doesn't scout enough in the early game, or maybe gets greedy and tries to check out the rest of the map instead of doing the follow-up scout. He could switch to a lizard all in. Squizzard is a very nice composition against an opponent only running squirrels. Meanwhile, the Falcons can really help out. I've been really enjoying Falcons when we get to the point where both players just have a lot of tier 1. then the Falcons have a nice, big, healthy front line for them to just sit in the back and deal extra DPS. So situations like that, the Falcon always helps you kind of scale into the late game if you don't have, you know, something like a Badger that does crazy DPS. And finally, the Boar. You know, the Boar makes sense. Tier 1 meta right now, I don't think it's as Tier 1-y as it was last patch, but I still feel like, you know, running 3 to 4 Tier 1 in your composition is pretty good, you know? So yeah, and meanwhile, Parsifal's kind of in the same boat. That Snake is always cool. You can do some kind of Snake Rush shenanigans that we see players like Mishi perform, and again, kind of touched on the other units in Parsifal's composition. And the Pigeons here, I kind of find interesting. I guess the Pigeons... Are Pigeons kind of something you want to run with Chameleons? Kind of how you run them with Skunks to keep them healthy on the front? Or maybe you're looking to have the healing to just kind of help your Boar last a little longer in the fights? So far, we're just kind of caught in some Tier 1 chicken here. Let's see who's going to throw that Tier 2 down first. Looks like Parsifal's setting up to throw something down. Bam, throws the Chameleon Warren down. Unfortunately for him, right as Iris is moving in for the scout. So Iris knows Parsifal's probably not going to attack for the next minute or so while his chameleons are spawning. Meanwhile, let's see. Oh, okay. I got hyped for a minute. I was like, is he going to just YOLO Boar it? Both players taking gristmills here. Not going hard, though. Just 1 or 2 farms so far. Let's see what Parsifal decides to commit to. And we kind of got mirror builds, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, no hard committals to second base economy. Both players kind of don't want to fall behind. It is very easy if you throw down 4, 5, 6 farms and all of a sudden your opponent shows up with like 12 or 15 more squirrels than you, right? So we do kind of have the lull as both players are waiting for their Tier 2. Parsifal's Tier 2 is basically out now. He did get his Tier 2 a little bit faster than Iris did, whereas Iris got to second base a little faster. So yeah, I was going to say this might be a nice little timing for Parsifal to try to attack. One Chameleon's already out, though, and he spent some time kind of chasing Iris's commander around. So that little bit of a timing window where maybe he had his Tier 2 ready to go before his opponent's kind of closed, as now if he got over there, Chameleons would be ready to roll for Iris. But no, Parsifal's just going to go for the Tier 3. Did he successfully kind of... Okay, yeah, I thought Iris didn't see that. I think Parsifal's intention there was to throw down the Tier 2, have Iris see it, and be off put from what's really going on. But a Boar on the way for Iris as well, so pretty similar timings on these Boars. We got a little bit of a macro game. I think I'll do a little fast forwarding. We do have a ton of matches to get through tonight, so I'll probably do a little fast forwarding when nothing's going on in the match, really, as these players are both kind of waiting for their Tier 3s to come up. Both kind of taking pretty similar amounts on that second base. Iris starting to go a little harder now. And let's see if Parsifal has a Tier 3 timing in mind. I think he just got the scout off. Yeah, he sees the Tier 3 there for his opponent. Iris has not seen the Tier 3 yet. And with that Falcon on the front line there, it's going to be hard. He's going to try to wiggle around here to the back, see if he can trigger the HP regen. He gets it. Alright, he's going to try to sneak in and see this Tier 3 war. And is he able to see it? Bam, he sees it. So he knows what's going on. He knows both players are kind of in similar positions. Really building up this Falcon count. I think that's really smart for bigger armies, for bigger engagements like this, especially since the Boars and the Chameleons don't really interact with flying units. Alright, so here we go. Iris is posturing out on the map, but he needs to be careful because his Boar isn't quite there. Now, Boars are both showing up a little bit late for either side, and here we go, the big engagement. Both players have pretty similar army compositions here. We got a good old-fashioned Boar off. Third base beginning for Iris. This map looks pretty good for either player to kind of take it long. You know, if the game goes super long, I like Parsifal's position because, I mean, look at this, man. You can't argue with a spawn like that, right? Very, very easy access to 4 bases. And, you know, Iris has pretty good access to a third. You know, this isn't a bad spawn either. But these 2 gristmills right here are going to be very difficult for either player to take. So if we start to get into that, like, 4th base situation, Parsifal would have a map advantage. But Iris is pushing in right here, right now. Let's see what both these players are trying to target. I think the board, yeah, the board is going to go down for Parsifal. That explosion actually did a ton of damage. That was probably the best boar explosion I've ever seen. Like, besides back in the Oktoberfest days when the boar was absolutely crazy. Like, modern boar explosion, that was nuts. That did so much damage to Iris' army. The pigeon's really coming in handy here, kind of baiting the target fire on the boar, while the boar is able to heal up and stay alive. And now Parsifal kind of overextended. He lost all those important falcons. And Iris kind of stabilizes off the back of that. Now, keep in mind, too, Parsifal never completely committed to his second base, so Iris has been enjoying a healthier economy for a few minutes now, which is definitely not insignificant. Jeez, that boar did so much damage. I mean, most of the time, the boar explosion's like, meh, but damn, man, that one killed so many units. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. I might check the clip or something. But yeah, Iris has got enough from here. Smashes through Parsifal. And advances on up to duel number 3. Okay, so we've got Anzu as our duelist next. How does that look? Let's do something like that. Yeah, it's close enough. Bam, there we go. A little uneven, but I think it works. Alright, let me update my tracker here. Okay, Iris heading into the match against Anzu. 2 lives remaining. Everybody's talking about KML in the chat. Is that the Kalaru automated micro leagues? Yeah, I need to look more into this. I've actually been getting more into playing lately. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Kalaru automated micro league, but I need to check this out. I was having a lot of fun playing today, man. Like an hour or two before the show, I was kind of like ready to start streaming. I was like, yeah, I'll just play some games, and had a really good time. Okay, let's hop into the next match. Spawning in the bottom, we've got Anzu. And his opponent up top, Iris. Alright, Anzu. Stealing my heart here, man. The classic Ferret Fox turret style. I really enjoyed playing that back in the day. I think it still works. Like, I still try to fit Ferret and Fox into a lot of my compositions, but I think I've finally given up on the MG. I don't know. I'm still a little mixed about it. It's just because moles, the modern moles, just hit buildings so hard, man. Like, I think it's really changed how good things like turrets are. But I could be wrong. And, you know, since the newest patch, we don't see moles as often as we did. I still personally think they're great. I've had a lot of success with them on the ladder. You know, when you got like squirrel mole composition against somebody who's just running squirrel, like a lot of times when you have variety, you know what I mean? Like if they got 20 squirrels and I've got 10 squirrels, 4 moles, 6 lizards or something, I always feel pretty good. Iris deck is vastly superior, says Jen. Yeah, I agree. I think for the current meta, Iris deck looks really, really good. It's the same thing he's been running this whole time. Starting out with a Chameleon first. Very interesting here. Let's see if Anzu gets a scout. Okay, he does see it. And you can't really punish this unless you started like 8-farm Lizard, maybe. Like, because then you can start getting your units over there. Like, if you notice right now, Anzu's about to have like 4 squirrels. Imagine if those were lizards, and they were very, very fast. They could get over to Iris's base when he's got like 1 squirrel and a chameleon on the way. But overall, starting off 8-farm chameleon or 8-farm tier 2 in general is pretty safe. Man, I know everyone in the chat's talking about KML. I'm gonna have to look into it after the show. It's kind of hard for me to keep up with chat sometimes when I'm trying to stay focused on the game. Y'all don't want me focusing on the chat. Y'all want me focused on making some good casting, right? So, all right, Iris is, I guess, actually, I really love this opening. Like, now he's got these chameleons to harass with on the board. I don't think he's going to commit to a big engagement. You know, he can kind of build up his army, sneak in a farm or two every now and then, but now he's got these units to play with and harass his opponent. Anzu's going to match Gristmills here, and these ferrets might actually come in handy. if Iris starts committing to farms, and Anzu can kind of get in there with these ferrets and start poking and prodding, but he needs to get going on microing those ferrets to make it really effective. You know, the idea... Oh, so he's going pretty hard on farms here, and he's got ferrets. This might be good for Iris. You kind of want to do one or the other, in my opinion, because these ferrets are not going to be as good as the chameleons in a straight-up fight. You know, so therefore, you want to kind of have a bigger army supply than theirs do, even if you are sacrificing some economy for it. So good micro here on the ferrets from the start, but this Squizzard chameleon army is built to brawl, where this ferret composition is more of a poke strategy. And one chameleon does go down. Very nice for Anzu here. Now Iris might be overcommitting. Is that other chameleon going to go down? That would be huge. It stays alive for now. Yeah, nice defense there from Anzu. A little bit of an overcommitment there from Iris. And, you know, the fact that Anzu had a couple extra farms going into that is going to give him a nice little economic advantage. Securing the kill on one of those chameleons was huge, but... this composition that Iris is putting together really wants to have direct engagements. Iris moving forward again. Chameleons haven't come out of the shadows quite yet. One Warren goes down. One chameleon falls. But now the ferrets are surrounded. Both ferrets go down, and a ton of damage is getting dealt here by Iris. The chameleons will eventually die. But he traded them evenly for his opponent's tier 2, and he also took out at least 2, maybe 3 Warrens in the process there. So nice trade for Iris. Again, Anzu did have a few farms a little bit longer, but now that Iris is getting up to the same farm economy, that difference is going to matter less and less. So yeah, they're in roughly the same position. Anzu is going to get crazy here, throw down a Fox Warren, throw down a lot of tier 1 to back it up with. Maybe try to get Iris to see all this tier 1 being built. Yeah, see the turret and decide, I don't want to fight this. I'm just going to back up and build some economy. Looks like exactly what the game plan is at the moment. But Iris is a good player. You know, he knows something's got to be up if you're going to try to throw down a turret like that. Invest the money in that. You're trying to hide something. You're trying to delay the game for some reason, right? But if Anzu gets this Fox out, man, he's going to have... Oh, he actually sold off the Ferret Warrens, which I think was a smart play. Yeah, this Fox will be nice. If he can back this Fox up with maybe 2 or 3 more turrets. Yeah, Iris now sees the Fox. Anzu can't support it just yet. He sells something to be able to afford the Fox. Let's see if Iris... Yeah, he's gearing up for an attack. He's kind of already got the 2-base economy. Iris doesn't really have choice for another base here. I wonder if he's saving... I wonder why he didn't take that last farm. Like, I don't think he'd really be worried about a starvation farm this game. Maybe he just didn't want to get too greedy with his economy. Now, he doesn't have moles, right? He doesn't have toads. He doesn't have his boar, so... He doesn't have a way to quickly gun down these turrets. If these turrets are well protected during the engagement... I could definitely help Anzu out a lot. The Fox is almost here. 2 chameleons can do an ambush. I think it takes 4 chameleons to kind of one-shot the Fox if it gets caught. So he's got his chameleons kind of set up front here, hoping that the Fox is going to walk into the trail of those chameleons and take some serious damage. And it could certainly die if the Fox is a micro, but he will have a chance to micro it against 2 chameleons. Fox moving in here, going to go ahead and start poking down this army from Iris, but Iris has so much tier 1. Oftentimes, you run into this problem with the Fox where it's like, yeah, I'll kill you slowly over time, but you could certainly get overrun by just so many units. However, this is where the turrets really come in handy. The turrets and the Fox are have a very nice synergy, where with the Fox, you're not going to necessarily have the best direct engagement, so you can fall back to those turrets. So there's a chameleon trap, and it actually worked with the 2 chameleons. Iris... in a huge lead. Anzu probably going to go home and sell that tier 3 Warren, but no, he doesn't get back to it in time. Iris gonna move forward, smash through these turrets, And with the superior army, I think that's going to be it for Mr. Anzu here. Let's see if Iris has enough to break all the way through. I think he's done crippling damage already. He's destroyed most of the warrants of his opponent, but it looks like he's going to have to go home, lick his wounds, repopulate an army, and try again. Anzu did commit to another Fox, though. In these kinds of scrappy situations, it can really shine. If Anzu can stay on top of that micro, you know, when there's only a few units out on the board, the Fox is much, much stronger than in these big Deathball army environments. Iris does see that the Fox Warren was committed to, and another Fox is on the way. Oftentimes, after losing a Tier 3 like that, it's pretty common for players to just go ahead and sell that Warren and try to do something else. But no, he committed to another Fox here, and the more shots he can get off, the better. As Iris, yeah, he needs to pull the trigger immediately in this kind of situation. He's got these lizards that can chase down the Fox, gonna at least push him back and just swallow the fledgling army of Anzu. Chameleon's on the way, moving forward. Alright, that Chameleon there to buffer back against the Fox. Anzu's staying in this game, man, but I think the army differential is just too big. This should be the killing blow here for Iris as he smashes forward. However, a lot of these lizards do go down trying to chase the Fox, but just the vanilla army here of Iris, of Squizzard, is very overwhelming. But this Fox stays alive. Okay. Oh! Yeah, a little bit of missed micro there. I thought he was just tapping out. But that's probably going to be a tap out now. Very, very nicely fought by Anzu, but well played by Iris as well. I think the replay bugged. This happens from time to time. So yeah, he must have just tapped out there. And the victory goes to Iris. Very cool. Bam. Okay, real brief break, guys. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, I am back. Okay. So, we are moving into the fourth duel. Iris still has 2 lives left. He's going up against Pedro, aka Le Owl. I would probably just, well, I guess I should call him Owl, or else that could be confusing. Bam. Okay. Everything looks good. Alright, let's hop into it. Duel number 4. Spawning in the bottom, we've got the challenger, Iris. And his opponent to the left, Le Owl. Alright, let's see what Pedro's got this game. He certainly does have the Owl. No surprises there. Now, I think the 200 IQ move would have been if he didn't have the Owl, right? Let's see if either player wants to do anything crazy. Iris sticking with this deck. I think this is the tried and true composition for him. It certainly does make sense to kind of stay with one deck in these kinds of environments, I suppose, when it's like a best of one kind of thing. As you're not really worried about your opponent knowing you're going to do the same thing over and over. And besides, like I was touching on before, just because you have the same deck doesn't mean you have to do the same builds, right? So Iris could certainly throw some curveballs into the match if he starts losing a couple lives and wants to do something different. He could do some lizard rushes. He could try to macro real hard. I mean, there's all kinds of ways he can take it. But this game, 8 farm openings from both players here. And there's some deep discussion going on in the chat. Alright, let's see. Mirror build so far. Yeah, we see... Wait a minute. Iris. Okay, he's just being a little troll here. It's like, what are you up to? Taking that Gristmill. He's going to go ahead and grab his Gristmill. I'm curious how he plays this out. Like, I've been kind of liking taking a Gristmill, taking 2 farms on it and going up to 4 tier 1. Iris is going to get in here and scout these tier 2 Warren. Yeah, so he sees that. Meanwhile, Owl gets to see that Iris... Ooh! Really cool transition here from Owl. He's just going to throw a lot of squirrels at Iris because Iris thinks he's safe. Yeah, this is really good. Iris is playing right into this. Iris thinks he's safe to go into tier 2 and to go into a farm or 2. But Owl's not going to wait around for no stinky skunk, man. He's moving across the board with some squirrels right now. Iris has invested into a gristmill, into a farm, into some tier 2 that aren't going to help him right now. But Pedro losing his units. This is absolutely terrible. And Iris is going to clean that up, no problem. Huge victory there for Iris. And that puts him very, very far ahead in this game. Because Owl was trying to hit a timing where he could take advantage of the fact that Iris invested into all these mid-game pieces that aren't quite coming into play yet. You know, now Iris has got a Chameleon here. He's got a relatively similar amount of squirrels. He should be able to hold this off, I feel like, with the Chameleon on the front and the defender's advantage, yeah. Owl kind of underestimating the Chameleon here and trading out armies out, which is fantastic for Iris because he's got the farm lead, he's got the tech lead. Owl's going to try to salvage this game by taking a second base. No, he decides against it. What's he going for? He's just going to try to get some falcons and maybe cross his fingers it'll be enough. No, okay, now he's going to take the gristmill as well. Yeah, this looks rough for Owl. You know, kind of 2 unsuccessful attacks while your opponent is taking a greedier route than you. That's rough. That's a rough spot to be in. But it's not impossible. He could get something done and come back here. Iris is just in a pretty compelling lead. Let's see if Owl can make something happen. He's got a lot of squirrels here. Iris' commander was not in the right position to take this engagement. But the Chameleon's coming in from the shadows, dealing so much damage to the squirrels. Another victory here for Iris. Now Iris' economy is miles ahead. His army value is also ahead here. So let's see. I mean, don't count Owl out. He could figure something out. You know, maybe he baits Iris into attacking us some turrets and gets an Owl or 2 out or something. Like, he can come back into this. He's just got to... really what Owl wants to happen is for Iris to just leave him alone for a minute or so and let Owl take some economy on the second base. But even still, like, the 8 farms for Iris, I can't I can't false hype this, guys. Iris is miles ahead. Like, this is going to be hard for Owl to come back from. Iris even working on that third base, just building up more and more tier 1. He's probably going to throw down a farm or two on this third base and just go in and pressure Owl some more. I think that's the right move. I don't think you let the game drag out if you're in Iris's position. Like, if he can take a good engagement, knock out those Falcons. Now, the Falcons in the back, you know, if Iris cannot DPS those quickly, they can get out of control. But Iris moving forward with so many lizards, targets one Falcon down immediately. The rest of Pedro's Owl's army is just not enough as Iris slams through. And that should be all she wrote. Owl taps out, and Iris gets through the first 4 duels, losing 1 life. Very good. Very good, very good. Okay. Alright, so let me do a little behind the scenes real quick. Get my next set of replays ready. Alright, so Iris makes it to duel number 5 with 2 lives left. Let's do QQ next. I think he was in the chat. We'll do some QQ games. Bam. And let me... Okay, so we're going to be back against Pingu here. I think this is correct. If I do that, let's see how it looks. Alright, looks close enough. Looks close enough. Okay, and then refresh here. Bam! Alright, guys. Okay, so Camel is like a... Is it a prediction thing? Let me see. I thought it was like a league about. I know Claro invited me to this. I just haven't taken a look really yet. Claro Automated Micro League. Alternative ranking system. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So... do you have to be signed up for it for it to track you? Yeah, I think so. Like I was playing earlier. Yeah, it looks like it's just tracking ranked. Yeah, see, yeah, it tracked me. Delthius versus Lin. Okay, so it's just tracking everybody who's playing ranked, it looks like. Kimmel is like a Macot in the context of the 12 duels. No, it tracks you straight away. Okay. So it's an alternative ranking system. That's awesome. Okay. Alright, let's hop into... So we finished Iris. For those of you just tuning in. He made it through the first 4 duels and has 2 lives remaining. And now we are hopping into QQ's arc. He is starting out in duel number 1 with 3 lives. Let's do it. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got Pingu. And his opponent to the top left, QQ. Alright, both players with the Ferret, Falcon, Squirrel, Pigeon here. Very similar decks, and then a tier 3 of their choice, plus a defense of their choice. Boar's pretty good nowadays, so I kind of like that over the Owl. But the Owl can still make it happen. You get out a few of those, you let that free damage from the mice compound a little bit, and you can kind of snowball a victory that way. Map looks okay. You know, if you're Pingu, yeah, you've got double high ground right outside your base, which kind of sucks, but he can, you know, claim this campfire, start claiming this general area. And he's going to be able to move into 2 nice campfires here that are currently cabins, and that's a nice way to kind of have economy, 1.5 bases, you know what I mean? Like just a little bit of extra if you're trying to do like 1 base all in kind of plays. And then if he positions himself out here, then he has a nice 3 base scenario going on. I feel like this middle ground, kind of right here, is going to be very important because whoever claims that really starts to control a lot of the map and a lot of the available gristmill options for expansions. And this gristmill right here is kind of safe, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a pain for Pingu to get to. Only being able to run through there. There's no ramp that's right next to it. Gonna try to take this campfire out, but he's gonna need a few more squirrels than that. I wasn't sure if QQ sold that mine off or if it exploded. But either way, nothing crazy just yet. Both players with 8 farm openings going into a few tier 1. Lots of tier 1, really. So maybe we'll see some big tier 1 aggressive plays here. QQ starting to kind of guard this middle ground I was talking about. Maybe he wants to capitalize on the fact Pingu lost a couple squirrels to that cabin and try to come in with a hit. He does have 1 or 2 extra squirrels, but it's kind of negligible with the defender's advantage for Pingu. But overall, nice job from QQ so far, just kind of being out on the map and being threatening, just trying to control the game. I think that's a very important aspect when your opponent's a little bit worried. They're never quite sure when you're going to attack in. But Pingu doesn't seem too worried, as he did throw down a ferret, and he's going to need quite some time to be able to get that up and running as QQ moves forward and looks to start being more aggressive. He's setting down some nice forward mines here. Is he going to try to grab this campfire and use it to help tank? Is he going to try to break through this right now? The first ferret's on the way, and that's actually going to punish this kind of stalling outside your base kind of tactic that QQ's got going on. However, he does have his own ferrets and puts his first one down, but the first ferret is on the board already for Pingu, and that means QQ's either going to have to put up or shut up here outside of his opponent's base. Can't quite just keep containing. Nice mine goes off, slows down that ferret, gets it very low, but QQ not able to capitalize on that. Looks like QQ might hold off for his own ferrets, and we might get into some ferret v ferret action going on. Moving forward, I don't think he grabbed a squirrel there. Yeah, 1 squirrel goes down. Nice mine hit on the ferret, but QQ's not committing, as Pingu's got a lot of units here, and he's got the high ground advantage. I think Pingu's in a phenomenal position here. He's going to keep pushing forward. The ferret is on the board for QQ as well. Both players kind of trading armies. QQ's got a few more squirrels, though. Pingu gonna back up to his Warren line for the time being. Now this can get deadly, as QQ does have ferrets and can sit there and start punishing his opponent. Ooh, okay, another direct engagement coming in. The real thing to keep an eye on is whose ferrets end up going down. But Pingu just has overwhelming squirrel numbers at the moment. These pigeons really adding a little bit to the composition, helping to heal these units on the front line, keep them alive a little bit longer. And the squirrel advantage for Pingu is slowly starting to snowball. He does manage to get the tier 2 Warren, which is nice. That means if QQ does lose a ferret, it's gone permanently. As I'm sure QQ probably can't afford to invest in another tier 2 Warren at the moment. Okay, Pingu really punishing QQ for continuing to kind of position himself outside of the base. Hold on a second, though. QQ coming in. 1 ferret goes down. Oh, QQ's ferrets are so low. 1 HP. Okay, it does go down, but yeah, both of them go down. No tier 2 Warren here for QQ. He's back down to only pigeons. Or, I'm sorry, only squirrels. And the pigeons, the ferrets, these variety in the composition is going to be enough for Pingu, of course, on top of the overwhelming numbers. And Pingu is going to take a life off QQ. Okay, where's QQ at? Where's his little icon? Bam. Alright, 1 life gone Aroni against Pingu. Okay. So we're going to hop into the second match here of duel number 1. QQ. Down 1 life. Let's see if Pingu can take any more from him. In the right, we've got the duelist up a match, Pingu. And his opponent to the top, QQ. The chat's going wild for Pingu, man. Dude, Pingu's been doing awesome. Like, for being the first duelist, I think a lot of us were counting him out, but, I mean, he's taken a lot of lives so far. He's probably taken more lives than anybody. I mean, granted, we are still very early in this event. But he's no pushover, man. Players are not just getting an auto advance to duel number 2 or something. You know, Pingu's really giving them a run for their money. So let's see how they want to start this off. Map looks a little better here for Pingu, but not impossible for QQ. The thing is, QQ is going to have to be very aggressive to expand with these gristmills kind of so close to his opponent, where Pingu can kind of take this back gristmill pretty much for free. There is a little way to get in, but QQ doesn't have anything like chameleons or lizards that would really capitalize on that. You know, he's actually got interesting options for his first gristmill here, in my opinion, because he could take this one, which is also pretty safe, or he could take this one and try to set himself up on the front lines a little more. If he takes this gristmill, starts building like a turret or two on these high grounds, he can really pressure QQ and make it difficult for him to secure his second base. Now, in response to that, QQ could always like try to take this base, but it's very far away, and it's pretty easy for Pingu to get over here and attack this. So nothing crazy just yet. 3 tier 1 openings from both sides. Let's see if they go into 4 or they try to take an expansion or a tier 2. You know, with the map kind of situated like this, I don't really blame them. You know, QQ needs to be aggressive here. He needs to get out on the map and plant his flag down and claim some territory. So let's see where the players want to take it. So far, nothing crazy. Might do a little fast forwarding as the game progresses. Looks like Pingu's getting ready for his ferrets. Both players throw ferrets down at approximately the same time. And they're just going to kind of micro up, kind of similar, or macro up, and kind of similar to last game, and try to get these ferrets out. So we're probably going to have a little bit of a lull until these ferrets hit the board. We do have a lot of replays to get to, so I'll probably be fast forwarding through parts like this. Gonna go ahead and trigger these mines, not a bad idea. You don't want to get hit by that daze as the direct engagement's happening. Both players have ferrets, and the ferret wars have begun. Basically mirror build so far. But Pingu's got a little more variety to his army with the pigeons, and I always think variety in an army is a good thing for the most part, especially among tier 1, you know. And here's a big ferret dance, but he hits the mine, and the QQ gets the hit on the ferret. That was beautiful. Pingu is going to try to take a direct engagement here since one of his ferrets went down. Oh, is he able to get the ferret of his opponent? No, it looks like QQ is pushing forward. Damn, that went very well for QQ. Takes out both ferrets of his opponent, one before the match the battle even started. The second one on the retreat. Both his ferrets are still alive and well on the back line. QQ is pushing forward with his squirrels, but I think he's going to have to pull back for a moment, let his units heal up, and rinse and repeat. But no, he's going to continue forward. He manages to shoot down a Warren with his long-range ferrets. He's got to get another one. He's starting to deal some real damage here to his opponents. He wants to press forward, kind of risk overextending to try to deal game-ending damage, and sure enough, it works. QQ takes Pingu down and advances forward to the second duel. Move that just a little. There we go. All right, let me take that in a little bit. All right, looking good, looking good. All right, we got Parsifal coming up next. Let me keep up with my little tracker. Okay. QQ advancing. Duel number 2. 2 lives left. Let's hop into it. Spawning on the left, we've got QQ rocking the Fox this round, and his opponent to the right, Parsival, with quite a few tier 2 to choose from. Awesome. I like QQ's composition a lot. The balloon's kind of cool. It kind of gets away from that issue that turrets have with moles, you know, dealing so much critical damage to structures, or things like boars or something just pushing through. So kind of neat. It also helps in the mirror matchup against opponents with Fox or Ferrets. You can zone them out quite effectively. I think QQ's deck has a lot of potential with things like the lizards and ferrets and foxes and balloons. However, I think Parsival's deck is a little more tried and true, standard beat 'em up, you know, and take their ladder point style build. So the 3 tier 2 is a bit much in my opinion. I think I'd prefer to see a 3rd tier 1, but that's just personal preference. You know, I think something like a mole or a toad or a lizard would be good. But having 3 tier 2 is really nice because he's got a lot of options here. You could try to start off with a chameleon heavy build. You know, chameleons, in my opinion, are kind of similar to foxes, where if there's not a whole lot of units on the board, they can really shine and do a lot of damage. The skunk is some great anti-AoE if the opponents try to get too much tier 1, and falcons are always nice to round out a big composition going into the mid to late game. So QQ rocking an early gristmill. Not really early, I think that's a pretty standard time nowadays. 8 farm, 2 tier 1. I've been kind of enjoying, if I want to take a macro game, build order like 8 farm, 2 tier 1, gristmill, and then 2 farms and 2 more tier 1. So then you're at this point where you've got, I think it's kind of greedy to do that opening with a tier 2, right? Because you might get ran over. But I like that style opening, you know, going heavy on the tier 1. Into an expansion kind of keeps you safe, and if your opponent, you know, doesn't do some damage to you or keep up with economy, they're going to be in a rough spot. These lizards moving in on these squirrels, but the squirrels were in higher number up front. However, Parsival pulled them back, and the lizards were able to get on top of them. The lizards are going to take a nice little trade here and actually start dealing damage to this tier 2 war, and I think the spawning squirrels are going to be enough to stop them, though. QQ trying to keep the pressure on with these lizards. He doesn't want to let that tier 2 pop out. But with defender's advantage here, he's not going to really get any more. I think he took a nice upfront trade. Probably had a little bit of advantage there. That second trade probably evened it out for Parsival, though. Now the skunk's here. The skunk's not the best unit in the world against the lizard, but it certainly is still effective against them. You know, they got to plant their feet somewhere and deal some damage, and if that's in a skunk cloud, as you can see right there, it certainly helps. Man, you can really tell the difference, the skunks, after they don't pre-gas anymore. However, that was one skunk at a time, and these lizards just rampaging through the skunks. So lizards are a really good way to answer skunks in general. Lizards do quite nicely against units like the skunks and ferrets, even the falcons in my opinion, but do pretty poorly against your chameleons, that kind of thing. Maybe even snakes if they have enough supporting units. But QQ is just going straight lizards off the back of 3 farms on the gristmill. This is a really cool way to open, in my opinion, because, you know, yeah, you're throwing a lot of units at your opponent, but he's got 3 additional farms here, so he can afford to trade evenly over and over and still be ahead. And as we can see, this economic lead start to compound, especially after Parsival lost those skunks. That was a really big investment for Parsival. They didn't quite do anything for him there, as the lizards were able to pick them off before they kind of joined an army with critical mass. QQ, with a very aggressive short match, manages to go up to the next duel. Very good. And who is he facing here? He's facing Anzu next. Bam. Okay, QQ looking good. Lost the life to Pingu, but other than that, he's continuing to move on. And let's see if his streak will continue, or if Anzu can manage to take a life or both off of QQ. Alright, in the left we've got Anzu. And his opponent to the right, QQ. Alright, kind of running the same style build we saw him use last time. With that Ferret Fox turret core. Backed up by some lizards for some variants. Meanwhile, Anzu's deck looks very meta to me. I think this is what we saw Iris running. If I remember correctly. I think that's the same deck we saw Iris using. And for a good reason. Like, if you're new to Tooth and Tail, or you want to start laddering more often, and want to try hard deck, man, steal Anzu / Iris deck right here. I think that is a fantastic build. You got a lot of different ways you can play it out. Looks really good. And you can always swap out, especially since you have the Pigeon already, you can kind of swap out that boar for the Badger if you want. That should work just fine. So yeah, let's see where these guys want to go from here. Nice big map from for both sides. They have plenty of grist mills. 8 farm, 2 tier 1 opening. QQ with the lizard opening. I like this a lot. I was actually doing this on the ladder today, and I thought it was good. It can be bad if your opponent is going to be really aggressive up front, or if you get caught out of position or something. But you know, starting out with the double lizard kind of lets you be active on the map without having to commit to a direct engagement. So you can kind of do whatever you want behind it. And it's easier to probably mask things like a tier 3 rush or a couple tier 2 going down. Yeah, I love this kind of opening from QQ. We saw him do it last game. You get out some lizards. You use those to harass your opponent. Try to keep them away from you while you take a gristmill with a couple farms. Start getting ahead in economy. I think it's pretty good. Last game we saw him really commit to an all-in style variance of this. I don't think you need to do that. Like, he's just straight up building lizards. I think you could have built two lizard warrens, you know, take a couple farms, start going into squirrels or whatever else. But no, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Like, the meta right now, people are not using toads, and I'm not sure, you know, I haven't played enough and experimented enough lately to really know if that's just because it got nerfed and they're still good units, just people aren't using them as much, or if there really is a competitive reason where it's like, no, that, you know, it's just not good to have toads anymore. I don't think that's the case. I think toads are probably fine. It's just players are trying to, you know, it takes up a slot in your deck, and it's real easy to critique a deck, you know, like critique QQ's deck and say, all right, I'm gonna put toads in there, you know, or you should put toads in there rather. Well, what are you gonna take out, you know? That's important. Like, if he takes out the Falcons, then he doesn't really have late game. You know, if he takes out the Ferrets, then that's just kind of eliminating the core of his deck. But anyways, guys, a big engagement coming in. We've got Pure Lizard going up against basically Squirrel out in the open. We all know how that fight ends up. You know, I think it's kind of risky to not include, in my opinion, a unit like Toad or Mole in your composition for exactly this reason. You know, moles just do a good job of holding off these lizards, I think, even after the nerf. And man, this might be another short and sweet victory here for QQ. This kind of take a base, supplement the economy, and flood lizard strategy really seems to be working for him. And okay, the replay desynced there. Yeah. Getting a lot of desynced replays today. Yep, that's got to be it. Anzu tapped out. Right? Pretty sure. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That's gotta be it. Anzu taps out, and QQ takes it. Great, alright. QQ is hopping into duel number 4 against Pedro with 2 lives left. Update the tracker. Bam. Good. Good deal. All right. In the top left, we've got QQ, changing up his composition a little bit this time. And the opponent to the right, the Owl. Going for that wolf pigeon composition here instead of the fox turret. Interesting change up here. I think Owl's deck is like a super meta deck like a little while ago. You know what I mean? And let's see if he can make it work. Like, this composition that Owl's rocking was really strong like a year ago, essentially, you know? But it certainly still looks good to me. I think, you know, Skunk posts the nerf. We haven't seen it as often. That doesn't mean at all that it's not good anymore. That just means players are experimenting with other tier 2 units. And to be honest, I've been liking the meta a lot more because, you know, I think Toad was kind of in the same position as Skunk, where it was like, well, for the most part, I know there's exceptions, but it's like you're not really going wrong with having Toad and Skunk in your deck, you know? That's kind of how it was. Where now, it's not that cut and dry. Now there's room for things like chameleons or skunks or lizards are coming back into play. So I think these are all really good things. I've always been a big fan of the lizard. I think it just adds a lot of flexibility to the game. You know, it gives you a really good kind of counterattack, harassment kind of squad unit, if that makes sense. And same thing with chameleons. Hey, see you later, Sronal. Apologize, I haven't been keeping up with the chat, man. But anyways, moving forward, QQ tries to take this second base on the high ground here. Owl's gonna immediately come into contest. Good target fire coming down from both sides. It's still pretty even. Owl's starting to stack a little bit of damage onto that gristmill. Owl decides to take his own gristmill right there. Oh, this is amazing. Either of these players have the cojones to build a farm on these gristmills, I would be very happy. But damn, a little bit of indecision, a little bit of bad control there from the Owl. And QQ really capitalized on it. You know, right when that engagement came in, he kind of pulled his army back, which allowed QQ to get off a ton of free shots and snowball that engagement immediately. And very smartly, QQ pulls back and lets his units heal up, recuperates. I think this is so good. And a lot of players just kind of smell blood in the water and try to come in and finish him off. And, you know, certainly QQ needs to keep the pressure on. You know, he won a very big engagement there. And if he plays it right, he should be able to, you know, snag a quick victory off the back of that skirmish. But he very correctly pulled back, reinforced his units, let everybody heal up, and now he's moving in with round number 2 here. Nice concave moving into this fight and absolutely smashes through the owls, or the squirrels of the owl here. And again, this is really good. Yeah, okay, Owl taps out. You know, QQ just needed to kind of pull back, you know, heal up his units again, reinforce again, and then shove in. Owl knew the writing on the walls, taps out, and QQ advances through the first 4 duels and has 2 lives remaining. So he ends up in the same spot as Iris here, looking to face off against Gabany next. Alright, I think this is a good opportunity for another real brief break in between duels. Actually, while I'm on break, I'll go ahead and set up the next duelist, get everything situated. That way when the camera comes back on, we can just hop right into it. So don't go anywhere. Brief 1 or 2 minute break, we will be back. Alright, I'm back. There, are you happy? Massive stealth. I got the fancy browser bracket up. Yes, he says. Dude, Massive's spicy today. You're on my case today, man. Alright, we're all ready. Not already. We're all ready to hop into the third Duelist on tonight's episode. We're going to be taking a look at the Red Dinosaurs games thus far in the events. Oops. Okay, good. Here we go. Let's hop into it. Always. Meta Stealth is always spicy. Undead Dino down here in the bottom. And his opponent up top, Pingu. Again, we're seeing Lizard play, man. I love it. This is kind of an awkward spawn at first glance for Dino. But he could, you know, put a nice balloon up here and really cover a lot of ground with it. It'd be very difficult. Like, if he put a balloon, like, right there, that would be so rough for Pingu to deal with. Ooh, Mass Stealth going in on Red Dino, man. Throwing down those wolf coins. Keep in mind, you can bet. I'm not advertising it too much because I don't want to sound like a broken record. But Premium Bow is setting up the betting for y'all in the chat. If you want to get down, you earn wolf coins by hanging out in the chat. You can throw them down and bet on who you think's going to win. Pingu! Reacting to the warrens that Undead kind of threw at him. Has he still not scouted? Yeah, he still hasn't seen it, so really nice mind games here from the Red Dino. Pingu's going to be very upset when he comes in here, sees no Warren, and see that he's been bamboozled. And on the back of that, Red Dino will enjoy just a slight advantage in economy, but it's pretty negligible, to be perfectly honest. Shouldn't be a big deal moving forward. Yeah, if you take a look, they're basically in the same spot. Actually, it looks like Pingu's a little bit ahead, so there you go. Regardless, it won't matter too much. Squizzard composition coming up against Pingu's Squirrel-only comp so far. Lizard's not going to be able to see a lot of really good play on this map, at least not until later, or if Pingu tries to take bases like over there or something. Maybe Undead, yeah, he decides against that. Gonna go for the Ferret up front, which the Ferret could also abuse this high ground right here. Very abusable if Pingu tries to take that Gristmill. You know, it'd probably be better for Pingu to try to expand over here to the left, but then he's kind of walking into the Lizard trap from the Red Dino. Alright, Pingu moving forward. Lots of squirrels here. Did he ever scout the tier 2? No, he hasn't. So he's just kind of coming into this blind. Ooh, target firing down that Warren is going to guarantee some overall damage from this push, but that was a lot of DPS that should have been on the army of Dinos. So, you know, Pingu's going to overall lose that engagement. However, I think that's fine for him because he did kill a Warren, right? And that's pretty good. So even if he lost a couple more squirrels than his opponent there, you know, getting that permanent Warren damage you feel pretty happy about. And Dino here with the Ferret, he needs to start poking away with this thing. The more times that this butt sucker fires, the more value you get, right? One squirrel already going down to it. Two squirrels going down to the Ferret before the fight begins. That's not negligible. And Dino's able to clean this up very easily. And the rally is kind of awkward for Pingu's unit. Some of them trying to split to the side over here. But Dino's in a great spot now. He got away with this fast Ferret. And now he's just got a very strong army composition compared to what Pingu has. You know, Pingu's just rocking pure squirrel, trying to get some pigeons in there. Meanwhile, Dino's got three different units in his composition. Nice engagement here for Pingu. Actually, Pingu's tearing it up, dealing a lot of damage with these squirrels. If he manages to kill these ferrets, it's huge. One of them goes down. Dino's forced to retreat with the other one for the time being. If Pingu can kind of pull back and reproduce for a moment, he would be in a good spot. Yeah, if Dino's going to hold off for the time being. He can't really even afford another ferret at the moment. Nice defense by Pingu there. I think that that definitely puts him back in this. You know, it's still looking good for Dino. But maybe if Dino sends his lizards in too early, Pingu's got to be careful not to lose his commander. The fight begins. The lizards aren't sitting early or anything like that, but Pingu's doing a good job of knocking down a lot of these squirrels, trying to get it to where the ferret is vulnerable on its own. It kind of trades evenly with the rest of Dino's army, except for Dino still does have that ferret. The second one was finally bought and paid for, and it's here on the field. Yet again, Pingu is chasing these ferrets home. You know, Dino going into these direct engagements with his ferrets, he needs to be trying to get some free shots off. Beautiful mine hit there. And this was a bit of a mistake from Pingu. Kind of getting a little bit cocky after doing so well in those last couple fights. And that might have been a game-losing mistake. Let's see if Pingu can hold on. Yeah, I think Dino's just done too much damage. Pingu thinks so too, and taps out. Dino moving into duel number 2 with all 3 lives remaining. Bam. Okay. All right, game 2. In the right, we've got Parsival, the duelist, and his opponent to the left, the undead Dino, aka Red Dino, aka the Conniver, I think. It's probably got like 7 different names. Okay, rocking the owl this time. Let's see if that comes into play. Red Dino with a pretty interesting spawn here. Only one way out the main base. He's got a nice natural there, but he's kind of angled like the wrong way, you know, compared to Parsival here. I wonder if Parsival is going to be able to take advantage of that. Like, imagine Parsival kind of sets up shop up here, you know, starts poking into the Falcons, and Dino's units have to move all the way around. I think instead, it would probably make more sense. Now, hold that thought, because Dino is opening with a 5-farm double here, and Parsival has not scouted. Wait, he must have... Okay, he did scout it. I'm sorry. I'm too used to players doing the 8-farm openings and not catching these things as often as they should. I apologize. I actually really like mixing this kind of play up, too. Doing some 5-farm or even 4-farm doubles. Never hurts. And even if you're going up against a skilled opponent, sometimes they don't catch it in time. Maybe they don't react to it 100% right. And this is kind of rough for this build since Parsival is in a corner. A lot of times you'll have paths where the lizards can get in from multiple angles and really bring on the harassment. But trades, what, 2 lizards there? Maybe 3 for a pig and a squirrel. But keep in mind, Parsival farms are way ahead. Dino's, yeah, he's got to get in there and keep his own farms going, or else all this, you know, aggression up front is not really going to matter if Parsival is just mining a lot more than he is. And Red Dino moving forward again. Going to take an engagement. Keep in mind, Parsival does have defender's advantage. He trades out units, and I think that really favored Parsival, to be honest, because they kind of traded pound for pound, and Parsival's sitting on a better economy. And Dino's doing something that is pretty risky here if Parsival sniffs it out. A lot of times this is it is a good reaction if your opponent doesn't catch you doing it, but he sold off those Warrens to try to get ahead in economy. And yeah, Parsival sees this, and he's going to try to capitalize on the fact that Red Dino sold off all of his Warrens and doesn't have any units right here, right now. However, it was such a long rush distance. Yeah, Parsival decides it's not worth it. By the time he gets up there, you know, he's fighting into a double high ground with 1 entrance, and Red Dino is going to have units popping out eventually. I think that was a smart response from Parsival, and that was a good job on him just being aware of the game, you know, and noticing that Dino was trying to sell those Warrens there and be greedy. And I also think it was smart. He changed his mind on that. So, okay, we're going to kind of move forward here. No harm, no foul a little bit, as Dino did get some damage done, but his economy was pretty delayed by it. Perhaps Parsival is slightly ahead, but not ahead to the point of just, you know, there's no return for Dino, right? I feel like the game is even enough where they can just kind of move forward and keep going. Oh, Pickpocket was all about that attack in the chat. I think it made sense if he had a shorter rush distance, right? Because by the time he got up there, it would have been 6 squirrels versus 3 squirrels and all the pigs, plus another 3 squirrels about to hit the board. Might do a little fast forward here, as it looks like we got a bit of a gentleman's agreement here. Both players trying to macro up some. No higher tech commitment just yet from Red Dino. He's going to stick on Squizzard, which Parsival should be putting together a composition that'll do quite well against that, as he's got his own Squizzard plus Chameleons, which are generally good against lizards. Alright, here we go. Big engagement on the front. These Chameleons, let's see how much of a difference they make for Parsival. One of them gets gunned down, the other one goes down as well. However, that tanking on the front line made a significant difference, and Parsival is able to push through with 11 squirrels remaining. Red Dino's frantically trying to get out whatever units he can, but they're not grouping up. They're just kind of going in one by one. Red Dino sees the writing on the wall, goes ahead and sells off everything, and tries to retreat back to this high ground. Unfortunately for him, he really doesn't have room for Warrens up here. But that's not going to matter too much, as Parsival's going to press forward. And yeah, this is a really awkward main base to try to attack into. And that's definitely going to help Red Dino here, but he lost so much already. He does have quite a bit of food because he simply just really can't build Warrens here. And Parsival is going to overextend. But is it going to matter? Can Red Dino come back from this position? He's down to 4 farms. He lost his second base. He did sell off a lot of things instead of losing, but he didn't lose all those Warrens down there. He sold most of them. Parsival trying to deny any scouting information from Red Dino here. He's still got his second base up. He's got a nice handful of units. He's got his Chameleons coming back up as well. I wonder if he's going to wait for the Chameleons or if he's going to try to keep pressure on. Did he already scout? Yeah, he scouted that Red Dino is trying to re-secure this bottom area. Now, Parsival needs to be careful. Doing something like running your lizards in before your squirrels, or yeah, like this right here, this could really hurt him as the lizards kind of get engaged upon by themselves, but it looks like it's not going to make too much of a difference. As Parsival does... Oh, actually, Red Dino is able to hold off the attack for now. Yeah, I think that was a bit hasty from Parsival. I think he needed to be a little more patient. You know, let his Chameleons come back to play. Maybe let Dino do something like invest in a farm or two down here, right? That way, when you come in with your Chameleons, you really punish him hard if he loses that Grismum, because he's invested in it even further, right? So Parsival looks like he wants to wait for his Chameleon now, but the economies are getting low here as we're well past the 5-minute mark. The main bases are almost mined out completely. And Parsival's struggling to just afford another Chameleon. He doesn't want to give Dino too much wiggle room. He does want to keep the pressure on, which I think is correct. But he's going to have to move in here with just 1 Chameleon. However, he's got essentially the same amount of squirrels, a few less, plus lizards, plus a Chameleon. Can he make this engagement happen? Nice engagement here. The Chameleon doing a lot of damage up front. It's going to die, but it just tanked so much, it's worth it. And yeah, now Dino's committed to a pig here. Does get the sell-off on the other pig and the Warren, but he's starving. He doesn't really have any good opportunities to prevent that with like a campfire or another base where he can build a farm. His whole main is mined out. He's got 3 squirrels left, but he's going to hold strong until the last minute. Red Dino going to take a loss here against Parsival. Very well done. I think Parsival played that phenomenally. I think he made a mistake when he attacked in without his 2 Chameleons. I think that was a little bit hasty. But other than that, I agree with most of his decision-making there. I thought that was really good. All right. Oh, let me publish my scoreboard. Bam. I'm bamming a lot tonight. Bam. You guys ever watch Trailer Park Boys? Show's so funny. Okay. All right, Parsival versus Dino, round 2. Let's get into it. Spawning on the left, we've got Red Dino going back to the Fox this game, and his opponent to the right, Parsival. Parsival's composition is looking good. I think it's pretty tried and true. Dino's kind of switching between a couple things, but he's got a pretty similar setup here. I agree with no pigeons from Dino. I don't think he really needs them with a tier 3 like a Fox. You know, certainly they do help against chameleons, or with chameleons rather. So let's see how this one plays out. It looks like it's probably going to be 8 farm openings for both players. Now Dino has been the guy to change it up. Yeah, he's doing a 6 farm Warren here. Parsival's going to see that. The correct response to this is a 7 farm Warren. But Dino is just doing a little bit of mind games. He wants Parsival to invest in a Warren instead of going straight to 8 farms. Actually invest in 2, so nice early game victory here for Dino. It shouldn't matter, I believe, because the rush distances are so long and those aren't lizards. So Dino's going to be happy with that scout. He shouldn't have to sell any farms here. He should just be fine on the double tier 1 coming out right here. Yep, that's perfect. And Parsival is going to realize he's been bamboozled, adjust a little bit, get that economy out a little bit faster. So nice early game victory here for Dino off a little bit of mind games. But again, not the biggest deal in the world. Parsival is certainly still fine in this match. Let's see how they want to take it. Again, I'll do a little fast forwarding here until something happens, but Tooth and Tail games are pretty action-packed, so don't have to really fast forward too much. And so far, it's just building up some tier 1, and Dino gonna throw down that Chameleon Warren. Meanwhile, Parsival is just going hard on Squizzard. He can hit a nice timing while Undead's invested into tier 2 and doesn't have it out yet, but it doesn't look like that's what he wants to do. I think he just wants to safely take an expansion. He's not going to get in and see that tier 2, unfortunately for Parsival. If he did see that tier 2, he'd know he's got a little bit of breathing room before an attack from Dino comes out and can probably do something like get his own tier 2. Maybe something like Falcons. I wonder how it is. I wonder if it's back to how it was on launch. Because on launch, we saw Chameleon Falcon. Nice little mind play here, by the way. I don't think Parsival sees that one. On launch, like, Chameleon builds and Falcon builds are really good. And intuitively, you would think Falcons would win that engagement, right? Because the Chameleons can't shoot up. But it actually turned out to be the other way around. The Chameleons typically won, like, 12 squirrels and 2 chameleons versus 12 squirrels and 2 falcons. The chameleons would win that because the chameleons would just destroy the enemy's squirrels so quickly and leave the falcons vulnerable to firepower from your own squirrels. So I wonder if that's still how it would be today. I'm sure we'll see a match of that situation eventually. I think that would make sense to me flavor-wise. Like, I kind of see the chameleon as this like early to mid-game unit that can get a lot of damage done versus a falcon, which is in my eyes more of like a mid to late game unit that really starts to get strong with a big supporting army and larger numbers. And Dino's ready to rock and roll. He's got 2 chameleons here. He's got some mines to try to bait his opponent into if things start going sour. These chameleons on the front line are going to fight to their last breaths. They're not recloaked into the shadows. But that might be enough for Dino to smash through. Kind of what we saw happen to him last game from Parsival, right? But Parsival's own chameleons have hit the board, and this is where the chameleons are really good in small numbers against tier 1. So Parsival defends that attack pretty nicely. Keep in mind, Dino did lose 2 chameleons in that fight. Oh, those mine hits could have been huge, but the fast lizards kind of triggered them before the squirrels came up. And Dino being very aggressive with his second base. You know, he's pretty all in. This is the hill he's gonna die on. He can't retreat and just give up this base. You know, this was intentional. Dino had much safer gristmills as options. He wants to go ahead and claim this territory because if he knows if he can this early on. It's going to secure a path to victory for him, as it's going to be hard for Parsival to take either of these third bases, and Dino basically gets a third and fourth for free, right? Parsival moving in, realizing how important this land is on this map. A lot of chaos. All the chameleons going down. Dino's got another chameleon on the way from the Warren. Well, Parzival gaining some momentum in this fight. The farm does go down. That is huge. And the chameleon shows up for Dino. Should secure this victory here, if you can call it a victory. Yeah, I suppose so, if you look at the army graph. But I still feel like this game is quite even, especially since Parzival managed to kill that pig, right? Like, it's so neck and neck, and it's such a contested game with very short rush distances. You really can't afford to do something like rebuild that farm. You know, you need every piece of food you can get for more army here. And Parzival gonna squeak out another farm. I don't think Dino saw it. No, he did see it. Dino's got his double chameleon back up. Parzival's still only got one. And I think these lizards are probably not the best against the chameleons. I'm not sure if this is one of those situations where I actually would rather have the 15 squirrels over the 9-6 lizards. Let's see it. The big engagement's coming in. The chameleons are in a better position for Red Dino. However, being on the front line means they get blasted upon very quickly. The chameleon goes down for Parzival as well. But those two chameleons on the front versus the one, you can really see the difference it made. And like I said, I don't think the lizards are really the best thing to have in this fight against the chameleons. Dino's got a little bit of tempo here. He wants to get that tier 2 Warren, but he's gonna go ahead and decide to retreat. However, no units are gonna live to tell the tale here. Parzival pushes everybody back. Both players are starving. They've literally been throwing everything they have at one another. Ooh, tough call to make, but both players do have to sacrifice their chameleon Warrens just to be able to build more farms at this point. It is very neck and neck. These are some of my favorite tooth and tail matches when, you know, we get pretty far into the game and it's still super scrappy and players have like 1 or 2 farms. Like, this is a big deal. Every unit counts right now. Ooh, okay, that mine hit could have been worse. Does kill a unit, so it trades 1 for 1. Ooh, Parzival taking some damage there, losing a lizard for free. That is a big deal in this situation. This is looking good for Dino. I think the transition, I think adding in lizards now becomes smart because you're so quick. You can threaten base trade situations. The chameleons aren't here anymore to bully these lizards, and Squizzard is going to be stronger than just straight squirrel, unless those squirrels are fighting, you know, really hunkered down in warrens or something. So I think going into some lizards here does make sense. This is rough, man. Both players trying to get up a second farm. Keep an eye on each other. You know, when the army counts are so low, you don't even really need to scout the main base anymore. You can kind of just peep in, you know, see how big their army is, and if it feels like food is missing, then you can scratch your head and be like, oh, did he try to sneak out a tier 2 or tier 3? Alright, both players posturing. This is rough. And the next engagement probably will decide the game. But neither player willing to fully commit in. And thus taking some farms here. Ooh, that's a big deal. This actually goes fallow here for Parzival. So he kind of loses a farm for nothing. You know what I mean? Just because he's been mining on it for so long. Meanwhile, these pigs still have plenty of wheat to go here on Dino's farm. So Dino takes a little bit of an economic lead here. Neither player willing to commit in. Ooh, Parzival's thinking about it. That mine goes off, hits everything. Or at least it's enough. Damn, that mine was so good for Dino. And Parzival knows it. Taps out. Dino advances. Very cool. Didn't Dino lose a life? I think I forgot to update that on my scoreboard. Dino lost a life somewhere, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, that's right. He lost the previous game to Parsival. I remember now. He's on that double high ground. Yep. Okay. So he's going into Anzu. With 3 lives remaining, or 2 lives remaining rather. Very cool. Alright. Let me make sure everything's good on my back end, keeping track of all the things and stuff. Looks good. Let's rock and roll into duel number 3. Anzu versus Dino. Spawning in the bottom, we've got Anzu. And his opponent to the right, Undead Dino. This is the spooky version of Red Dino. Red Dino was like a green and red creature, and now he's become like a black creature with regeneration. You know what I'm saying? Magic the Gathering nerds. Dude, I love these maps with rain. Very good. This map is just nice to look at overall. How is it from a gameplay perspective, though? Undead Dino's probably pretty happy here. He's got a cabin that can really help reinforce 1 base pushes. He's got a pretty decent expansion here, even a lovely spot to throw a balloon. Anzu's not in rough shape either. He does have this natural on the high ground outside of his base. Ooh, Anzu. Okay, who went first? Okay, Anzu's doing this in response to Dino's 5-farm double here. It's gonna get this turret up. That should actually be really strong in this situation. I don't think Dino can really sneak past it. Dino's just gonna warp home real quick, throw down another farm, and he's gonna press in with 6 squirrels. Now, if Anzu's units are out of position, these squirrels will be able to gun down that turret. And lizards are not the best on defense. You know, he'd be better off if he had some squirrels, but let's see, the lizard's moving in. And yeah, trying to take that engage. I think he really needed to wait for like all 6 squirrels to try to really commit onto that turret. But nice defense here from Anzu. I think if this turret ends up living through this and he can sell it off, he's going to be in a great spot. Okay, so we're kind of getting back into 8 farms here. No harm, no foul, really, from those openers. I think it favored Anzu a bit, but again, it's not crippling advantage or anything like that. Dino is still perfectly fine in this game. And I really appreciate Dino mixing in all these pre-8 farm openings. You know, it's really strong to keep your opponent on their toes, even if it doesn't always pan out for you. Dino's gonna come in, check out what's up. I think he saw the tier 2. No, he didn't, actually. Pretty important to know your opponent is gonna go for that. So let's see how Dino responds. Yeah, he's just gonna continue building units. I think this Squizzard combination is really good against like a quick tier 2 opening in general. I think the only exception to that rule would be tier 2 opening involving the Chameleon. But really, I would say any other tier 2 opening going up against like pure Squizzard. I think the Squizzard would do very well against it. Anzu rocking Lizard Skunk, man. Alright, now he's starting to throw in some squirrels. Try to even things out here, round things out rather. And this is kind of, feels like a tough map to attack into for either player, right? Because it looks like the contestant is really on this little riverbank here with the bridge, right? So either player has to go through the water and the low ground to attack in before they can get to their opponent. Let's see how the skunks fare. Like Squizzard versus Squizzard Skunk, you know. If the skunks were micro correctly and the lizards were not able to jump on those skunks at the beginning of the fight and just knock them out, I think they'd perform very well. Tier 2 Warren goes down for Anzu. Gonna get the ferrets. Or for Dino, rather. It is not scouted by Anzu. Ooh, Anzu. Is he gonna get spicy? Bring it, Anzu. Anzu, yeah! Alright. Super hyped tier 3 placement, guys. Alright, so Dino hasn't seen that yet. Pretty important for him to see it, though, because I don't feel like either player is really poised to, like, you know, attack immediately. Like, I don't feel like Dino is gonna just naturally move out here. He might, like, as I say that, Caster Curse is kicking in and he's starting to position himself, which does make sense where his comp. Yeah, no, he wants to poke in with the ferrets, which are gonna be great against these turrets, obviously, but this is kind of a slow poke. Oh, nice balloon. That is really smart. That is super good, because Anzu really can't contest this balloon going down, but he has to. And I think Dino should win this engagement, seeing how Anzu invested in the tier 3. Yeah, he doesn't want to fight into the turrets, because right now, Anzu invested into that tier 3 into the turrets, and those aren't really helping him in this fight. Oh, this is so good for Dino now. This is kind of the money right here. He's got a balloon defending a couple ferrets, and the balloon also grants those ferrets a little bit of additional vision here, making their poking potential even better. Anzu did finish the boar warren, but he can't quite pay for it, and with only 5 farms and no money in the bank, I think it's going to be very hard to get to this tier 3. It might be his downfall. You know, committing that 180 food into that tier 3 warren and really never getting anything for it because he can't afford it. You know, if he wasn't blocked on that warren, he might have a boar, like, almost out right now. They could maybe do a big counter push, but yeah, he knows it and has to sell off that warren. However, this Squizzard Ferret combo is just doing so much damage, and another desync 3 play. Oof, why are we getting so many desync 3 plays? This normally doesn't happen that often. But right there, Anzu must have tapped out, and Dino takes the match. Okay, so Dino still has 2 lives left, and he's gonna go up against Pedro in the next round. Let me move him on my handy-dandy tracker here. Boom. Okay, last duel for Dino. Let's hop into it. Duel number 4. Anzu alt 4s when he loses, says the gentleman. Maybe. I wonder if that's what causes the bug. Anyways, red Dino over to the left, and the owl, aka Pedro, in the top right. I wonder if it's been Anzu every time. It might just be desyncing against Anzu because he hard shuts down Tooth and Tail or something when he loses. That would make sense. Yeah, gentleman's saying that pretty confidently in the chat, so I'm gonna go with that. Again, we see a 5-farm warren here from Undead. Let's see if Pedro gets a scout. He does. Let's see how he wants to react to it. 6-farm warren would be good, and that looks to be what he's going for. Dino's going to double down with a second tier 1 warren here. Oh, and he's going to rally the single lizard across. This actually could do something. Oh, I was going to say maybe if that pig hadn't quite finished, you could start poking it. I think you need like 2 lizards to really get in there and start harassing the pig if you have good control. But now with squirrels on the board, he's going to need more lizards than that to really make something happen. I wouldn't mind seeing Dino actually stay committed to these 6 lizards, though. I don't think... Oh, very nice. Takes up that building farm. I was going to say, I don't think that's the right approach. Like, since he's got the mobility and Owl's base is pretty open, he can take these... Oh, he's got that pig so close. He really wants it. Hold that thought. Oh, man, it's so low. He's going to go in. He can't contain himself. Bam, he gets it. Alright, he does need to go back home and at least build a farm or 2, but I like this because it's open, right? Like, he could sneak his lizards around here and swing in. He could sneak in up here and swing in, although this campfire, or cabin rather, does make that a little more painful. And these squirrels being caught out is huge. Owl desperately needed those to help keep him alive, and he's not selling these farms. These lizards are getting out of control damage done. I'd love to see Dino throw down another warren here and just double down. I think he's dealt enough damage where if he keeps the pressure on, he's going to have enough to just finish him off. Like, Pedro's already lost like 3 or 4 pigs. He's taken unfavorable engagements against these lizards several times. Yeah. He knows he's not going to be able to keep those farms alive. Goes ahead and sells them off before they easily get captured by the lizards again. And lizards come in and kill another farm. This is definitely getting out of control here for Undead Dino. Yeah, I think this is correct by Dino. I think he just needs to keep building tier 1. I wouldn't have minded seeing a pure lizard commitment, but the squirrels are fine. Yeah, he wants to use these squirrels to help poke down these warrens, but he needs to be careful and not get too fancy. You know, I think he can just, you know, Hulk smash through here. And Dino's perfectly fine with doing this. You know, if he attacks N2, defender's advantage trades evenly. Just rinse and repeat that over and over, and Dino's additional 3 farms are going to add up, and the Owl simply won't be able to keep up. Now, if Dino does make a big blunder, Pedro can come back into this game, but off that opening, you know, Dino just dealt such crippling damage. He's trying to kind of perform a tactical takedown here. You know, it is easy to throw in this kind of situation if you underestimate your opponent, and especially with these toads coming out, those could be Owl's comeback mechanic. You know, 1 or 2 right engagements on the lizards or the squirrels, to be perfectly honest, and those toads are gonna really change the game. Dino doing a good job to not throw his lizards up front. That can be a very easy mistake to make when you're piloting this Squizzard composition. The first toad hits the board, but it gets taken out before it can do anything. And Dino, I think, played the rest of this game out very smartly. You know, he really capitalized on the damage that he dealt in the early game and continued to pressure his opponent. And you know, was pretty careful not to overextend. And with the last pig going down, that is going to be game. Pedro taps out, and Dino makes it through with 2 lives left. I think that's the case for every player so far, right? I think everybody has made it through with 2 lives, at least on this stream. I think that's correct. Okay, same thing here, just slight break. I'm going to grab a glass of water, update my scores, get the replays up for the next duelist, and we are going to hop into the last duelist of the night, James. So give me a minute or 2, let me do some back-end stuff, grab something to drink, and we will finish out with James Duels 1 through 4. Alright, what is up, guys and gals and everyone else? How's it going? I am doing great. Let us end tonight on a strong note with Duels 1 through 4 from James Bowring. Everything looks good here. Okay, let's go. Match number 1. In the right, we've got James playing on his PlayStation 1. And his opponent to the top left, Pingu. Alright, James rocking some toads, rocking some drumfire cannon. Let's see if things get interesting this round. I wonder if he's going to be able to use that artillery to his advantage, or if it's kind of in the deck. I've always been curious about players who run the artillery. Like, are you kind of going into the games trying to force the artillery, you know? Like, I really want to get this down and make it real difficult on my opponent, or is it just kind of a nice play to have up your pocket, kind of in your pocket, kind of ace up the sleeve kind of thing, you know? Let's see how this plays out. 8 farm opening from both sides here. I realized that already range diameter is about half of the map side length. Dude, if there is one person that's an expert on artillery cannon, it is Kalaru. So did Pingu see the early gristmill? He did not. But pretty standard stuff from both sides. 8 farm double tier 1 is a little bit safer than 8 farm into single tier 1 gristmill second tier 1, but most of the time it doesn't really matter. I think they'll be fine either way. The real question here is how much James commits to this expansion. Pingu did see that it's been taken. And so far, James hasn't built any farms at all. So slight investment here, but you know, he's not in a position where his opponent's got a larger army or anything like that. You know, he does a little bit, but not enough for it to really matter. And James is playing it slow, man. Like, now I'm kind of questioning this gristmill decision, since he still hasn't put a farm down. Now, there he goes. He gets one down. Maybe he just, with how aggressively Pingu's placing these warrens, he needs to be really careful. You know, he doesn't lose because he placed down too many farms. So I get him being a little cautious, and sure enough, here Pingu comes. I think James is fine, though. He should be able to use his defender's advantage very nicely here. Like, these armies should trade pretty evenly, but you put the pigs on top of it, and you're tanking a little bit, dealing some extra damage. One pig actually goes down, so I would count that as a victory for Pingu, seeing how they trade armies. Yeah, fairly evenly there, except for Pingu did manage to get that pig, so he dealt some kind of permanent damage to his opponent. And that's one of those pigs that you're always kind of hesitant. I'd be surprised to see James rebuild that this game. I mean, it's just better for him to build a pig on a, you know, fresh area that hasn't been halfway saturated out already. And here comes Pingu. And this attack is not going to be as good as the last one. It's not, you know, not the end of the world for Pingu, but definitely a favorable trade there for James. And James is going to try to sneak out another farm. This can be a big deal if Pingu can't get some real damage in. Yeah, he gets up there, he sees the 2 farms have been taken. And this is really aggressive from Pingu, just going straight squirrels. If James can kind of weather the storm, he's going to be in a game-winning position since he does have a better economy, but he's going to have to hold on, which it's looking pretty rough for him. Pingu manages to take this engagement, but no, James actually does trade out pound for pound there. Very good for James here. You know, Pingu not able to do anything. Like secure a pig. Another pig did go down. I didn't notice that when it happened. Maybe it was in that engagement or previously. But still, James did kind of replace those pigs, I guess. So really, James' economy is no better than Pingu's. The only difference is once that 5-minute mark hits, it's going to be scarier for Pingu than for James. Pingu continuing to press forward. There we go. If he can get that pig. Oh, he doesn't get the pig, and he sacrificed a lot of momentum in his army. Like, he was willing to trade out ineffectively with his squirrels to try to get that pig, right? Since he focus fired it, all his opponent's squirrels were killing his, but his were trying to get some bacon, and it didn't work, barely. So that was absolutely huge for James. You can see in this spiky army graph, James taking a nice little lead after that last one, and Pingu trying to transition, realizing, okay, I gotta get a second base up. Here's that 5-minute mark, and begins to create some pig production. Very luckily here for James, the pigs that died were pigs that were gonna mine out at the 5-minute mark anyways, so that 5-minute mark really puts James at a significant advantage, because his kind of replacement pigs that were built over here are still here, if that makes sense. So that 5-minute mark really hit Pingu very hard. You can see on the income graph, right at that 5-minute mark, James just takes a huge lead, because he basically lost 0 farms where Pingu lost 4. Okay. James did get the scout of the tier 2 hitting the board there. Is Pingu aware of James's tier 2 is a question. He is not. And let's see if James is going to wait for a chameleon. Yeah, he's going to wait for... My question is he going to wait for the second chameleon or not, or if he's just going to move out on 1. Since he queued that farm, I guess he's just looking to move out on 1. He's got Squirrel Toad versus Pure Squirrel, and he's got superior numbers. That 5-minute mark really giving him a good advantage here. One of the Toads goes off, deals a ton of damage to a lot of the squirrels. Toad's getting some hits off on these warrens. Is not bad either. James with a nice army, and he's going to pull back after dealing some damage. This is very nicely done. Actually decides that the retreating force from Pingu is not enough to really threaten him. Jukes back around, eliminates those tier 1 warrens, and now he's just going to come home, rinse and repeat. Pingu knows the writing's on the wall and taps out. James getting past Pingu with both lives left. Gonna go up against Parsival next. Let me get my tracker here. Okay. Alright, let's go. To the right, we've got Parsival. And his opponent to the left, James. Alright, let's see what happens this game. James is kind of also one of those guys that doesn't always start off with 8 farms, so got to keep an eye on him, see if he's going to do anything risque, like a double lizard opening or something. Well, looks like just a standard farming up for the time being. So this map looks really good for James. Kind of sucks for Parsival a little bit, to be perfectly honest, because in my opinion, he doesn't have very good access to his second base. This one is very contestable by James. However, if he can take this base, he secures a lot of the map. He doesn't necessarily secure this gristmill, but he makes it really hard for Dino to take it. And he kind of secures both these gristmills as well. Or I'm sorry, James to take it. I've still got Dino on the brain, apparently. Alright, 8 farm openers for both players. James going for a straight 8 farm gristmill. Parsival is going to react with some double lizards. Lizards are going to be great on this map. It is open enough for lizards to sneak around a couple different paths. He actually can't... that is unfortunate for a lizard player, because he can't actually get in this way. However, he still can kind of come up here, you know, maybe run through this little path to be sneaky, come out. But yeah, if you look at the mini-map, all of this is totally locked off. Still no gristmill from Parsival here, so he wants to be aggressive this game. He's making that pretty clear, since he knows James took like the most greedy expansion base he possibly can with an 8 farm gristmill. Manages to get a pig there. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Parsifal, no. Oh, he's going to lose so many lizards in this poor rally. It's not even his fault. This is very misleading on the map. It does look like you'd be able to fit through there, but you cannot. And James is going to do a very powerful counterattack. Parsifal just kind of bled off like 3 or 4 lizards trying to come home this way. And, you know, in situations like this, that can be enough to snowball. You also have to think that Parsifal traded lizards for a pig, which is good in the long run, but not right at that moment, you know what I mean? Now you have a few less units where your opponent can hit you for a counterattack and get something done. We saw James take a nice trade there, even picking up a Warren. And let's see if he wants to keep the pressure on. He hasn't taken any farms on that second base. I think he did the same thing last game, so I wonder if he takes this gristmill as kind of a 60 food investment to try to bamboozle his opponent. You know, like if you scout that they take a gristmill that early, you can just assume they're going to throw a few farms on it. And since James doesn't do that, maybe he catches his opponents off guard a little bit with a few more units than they expect. But James really keeping the pressure on while building these chameleons in the back. He gets one out. Parsifal has no idea tier 2 are on the board, and these are the situations where chameleons really shine. This is where James can abuse the chameleon, re-stealth micro, get a ton of value. Parsifal knows that the chameleon is the right thing for this situation. No, James has got him and taps out. So James flying through this, man. Straight to duel 3. The Wolf coins are going every which way in the betting tonight. Really cool, everybody's having fun with the betting. I appreciate you guys participating in that. It is a lot of fun. Wait. Okay, so your compare at 747. Okay, I'm looking. I don't know if Kalara is watching. I just looked at my ping in Discord. Hang on, I can move this over to the browser screen. Does that work? Okay. So he's looking at me versus Premium Bow, and he says, I am slightly ranked below him, but look how many more games I've played. Does that not go into the comparison? Like, what's the win rate ratio? No games were recorded between these two players. Does this only work for ranked? Does it not do custom? That would make sense. But I'm surprised Premium Bow would even have that much in ranked, because he is all about those 2v2s. Anyways, sorry, a little distracted. Yeah, you wanted to show me about it like an hour ago. Well, Delthius doesn't understand how percentages work. I do understand how percentages work. However, typically with like ladder environments, there's given a bigger weight to percentages that are equal. Like, for example, a player that's 200 and 100 would be ranked higher than a player that is 2 to 1, even though they have the same percentage win-loss ratio. Does that make sense? P-Boop does ranked? No. Well, according to this, you've played like 120 ranked games. Okay. I think Premium Bow is just a sneaky ranker. Changes his nickname. Oh, Premium Bow got busted, man. Doing some 1v1s. Okay, anyways, guys. Enough sidetracking here. James is on a roll. That's the real story. Let's see if he can keep the pace up and take out Anzu with 3 lives left. Hey, good night, Evil. See you next time, man. In the bottom, we've got James. Up top, we've got Anzu. All right, James looking good so far. Undefeated on his 3rd duelist here. All lives remain for James. Let's see how he wants to play this one out. So far, nothing crazy. You kind of expect James to do some pre-8 farm stuff, as I've mentioned previously. He does have this nice campfire. Anzu's probably feeling pretty good about this spawn. I'd be pretty happy with this. You got a second base in the back. You got a third base over to the side. Hell, he's even got a campfire right here. Luckily for him, James doesn't have anything like balloons or ferrets that could be very abusive with this high ground here. And the spawn for James is pretty good too, right? Like, this second base is reasonable. This third base is fine. And he's also got a cabin in his general areas. So I think this is a balanced enough map. We'll see if James is able to abuse this high ground that doesn't have a ramp on Anzu's side. But again, I think with his composition, he doesn't really have any long-range abusive units, like a ferret or a fox or a balloon or something. So I don't think we'll see this come into play too much. It could be difficult for Anzu to attack in if James has his army up here, but then Anzu could just walk around that way, you know. James is playing like a madman here. Opens up with a quick mill and a quick tier 2, just as greedy as possible. And Anzu hasn't scouted any of it. He's got to know something's up. He hasn't seen a single war in this far. Yeah, in the chat, Vincent, man, I'd say don't be shy to go into ranked. I know it's rough when you go in and you end up against high-level players and get beat and stuff, but it's a good learning opportunity, and there actually has been a big influx of players in ranked. My biggest advice to maybe a new player or somebody who hasn't really dived into much Tooth and Tail is join the Discord. Like, the Discord's very, very lit, fam. It's my hip lingo. And you can oftentimes, you know, just message around if you're looking to play a game, and you could probably even you could say that specifically. Hey, is there anybody? I'm kind of new. I want to practice. You know, does anybody want to play against me who's not, you know, a god tier player just gonna rock me every game? But I don't really suffer from ladder anxiety or anything like that, so it's kind of easy for me to say. But my advice is just never take any ranked or any ladder system in any game too seriously. Never be afraid to lose. Losing's really good for you. You know, like today I laddered and I didn't lose a match, and that's fine. Like, I had a lot of fun winning, you know, but at the same time, I'm not sure if the strategies I was using are good, or if I was just like I was playing against a lot of new players, to be honest. I played against a lot of people I don't recognize. Which is kind of rare because I'm kind of on the up and up for the most part of most players in the scene. And yeah, today when I was playing ranked, I matched up. I don't think I'd ever played against any of those players before. But you know, on the flip side of winning too much, now I'm like, okay, is my deck really good, or was I just kind of outclassing my opponents? You know, I want to play against people in the ladder and lose, because that means I'm learning things. Or something I'm trying to do is not working. But anyways, back to this game. Lots and lots of tier 1 coming out from Anzu, but he is hiding a boar. Really kind of similar things from both sides here. James is going to get in and see the boar scout. Meanwhile, Anzu has not seen the boar coming out from his opponent just yet. Pretty similar economies from both sides. Oh, very smart from Anzu. He's going to heal up and get a scout into the main base. He's going to see that tier 3 Warren going down. They're more active new players right now than 6 months ago, that's for sure. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I probably played for about an hour and a half before the stream today, and I fought 5 or 6 people I didn't recognize. So that's great. That means new players are coming in. I don't mind losing. I'm mostly worried about annoying people being too weak. No, don't ever feel that way. Everybody is welcome. Trust me, you're going, even if a top tier player, quote unquote, is fighting you in ranked or something, they're just going to be happy new players are playing, and 9 times out of 10 they'll be happy to give you pointers or anything in the Discord. And here we go, the boar push is coming out. James is going to hit this timing before Anzu's boar is ready, and James so far is absolutely shredding through his opponent's army. This boar doing a phenomenal job of both dealing damage and tanking a ton. This is exactly where you want to see a boar. Low on HP, but still alive. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and sack both boars going down. But James is perfectly happy with that. He's still got a ton of falcons in the air. which is going to be really hard for small amounts of reinforcing units to deal with. And again, Anzu with the Alt F4, bugging up the replays here. But James is going to take the match. So that means James is going into match number 4 here. Against the Owl. Good timing, says Pickpocket. Absolutely. That was very clutch. It was a very close game. But James really capitalized on the fact he made the decision to build that tier 3 so much faster than his opponent. He was able to enjoy the big beginning of the game, or beginning of that engagement where he had a board and his opponent didn't. Thanks everyone. I'll try. I probably have to do a campaign again. Yeah, like I said, don't feel afraid to hop in, and I can't stress the Discord enough. Like, I know people always say that about their games and communities and stuff, but the Discord's a really good tool. You can find out about events like this going on, where you can watch experienced players. You can kind of network with other players. You know, try to get a 2v2 going or something. If you message in the Discord to get a 2v2 going, for example, it'll probably be a lot faster than just hosting one and waiting around. But anyways, enough plugging that Pocketwatch Games Discord. Let's hop into duel number 4. James, still at full HP. If he beats Pedro in this match, then that means he has done the best tonight, because I believe all the other duelists finished with 2 lives left. And in the bottom here, trying to stay undefeated, it's James. And his opponent up top, we've got Pedro, aka Le Owl. Pedro's been in the scene for a long time. He's organized quite a few tournaments back in the day. It's always a pleasure working with Pedro. I think he's the one who organized a lot of the Nation War style tournaments that we've had, like the USA or North America versus Europe kind of things. Those events are always really fun. Kind of thinking like, I think a lot of the strong players right now are European, to be honest. Like, I think the American players are guys like Pyle and Swifty and DJ Soak and Chip. Mishi is certainly an American player. Yeah, I think Mishi's might be the strongest American player. This guy's European, right? He organized Continental Showdowns 1 and 2. Yeah. Europe strong. Yeah, Lucas Nickus is this guy, I believe. Yeah, who are our strong USA players right now? We've got Mishi. I'm not bad. I'm pretty good. I'm normally pretty top tier when I'm on top of my game, but I don't really participate in events because I host and cast a lot of them. So I'm not going to include myself there. Is Kalaru USA? Shit beat all the Euro babies. Oh, Lieutenant Weasel's USA. Alright. Kalaru. Yeah, Mishi is Peruvian. Kalaru is European. Dino's USA. What about Haru? I think Haru's USA, isn't he? We need to get a nation war going again. Or, no, hold that thought. We need to make sure there's enough good USA players active right now. Oh, gosh. I think Europe would be in a really good spot in a nation war at the moment. I think Haru is USA. Yeah, Big Pimpin' Tosh is Europe. Parsival is USA. Okay. Igusa's South American. Really cool. Yeah, Mishi is kind of both. Like, he's South American, but he moved to the United States where he currently lives. Alright, sorry, I haven't been commentating this game at all. This is a Squizzard into Chameleon opening. Both players going for 2 base economies. Nice little attack here from James. I love it. I love doing stuff with like that with lizards. It always feels really nice. But the Owl does have some toads in his mix, so Squizzard is not going to be as strong in the direct engagement. However, I feel like James is putting together the stronger army, but Pedro is going to try to come in here for this timing attack and see if he can get something done before these tier 2s hit the board. James is going really hard, investing in a lot of different things. This is really risky in my opinion. Going for 2 tier 2 plus a base plus some farms. Like, I would think doing a base alone is enough of a risk, or going for a tier 2 alone. But going for all of this at once and getting away with it too off the back of that engagement. Chip is USA. We only really need Chip, that is true. Haru plays in a lot of EU Cups. Okay, maybe Haru is European. I could have sworn I had called Kalaru or Haru European at one point, and one of them corrected me and said they're USA, but I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time, guys. I have the memory of a goldfish. Yeah, who else we got in USA at the moment? Mishi, Chip, Dino. Like, a lot of the strong guys are in Europe. Rip Delthius' memory, right? Oh, dude, it's bad. Okay, nice little harassment here. James is doing a phenomenal job this game, just eking out little advantages when he can. And some toads go off on those chameleons, too. This couldn't be better for James. I mean, he got in here earlier, traded out some lizards for some pigs, get some free harassment there with the falcons. He deals with Pedro's counterattack very effectively off the back of a greedy opening into double tier 2 plus economy. And then right there he gets a falcon a kill for free on that pig and even blows up some toads for free on the back of it. Now he's going into the boar, and I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin. He's just going to hang out and wait for that boar. Owl has got to get something done right here, right now. Jacoby's American, that's true. So if we got like me, Mishi, Jacoby, Red Dino, Augusta, we're starting to put together a decent team. All right, big attack coming in from Owl. Nice surround though on these lizards. James kind of pulled them up to the side and gets a huge flank in and dominates the force from Owl. This looks very good for James. Both players on really similar economies here, but James just has the tech advantage. Like, he's got a ton of tier 2. He's bought and paid for the boar. And this looks good for James. Owl's just going straight squirrel, man. Let's see if he can pull it off. But, you know, this kind of thing, variance in army compositions is really big. You know, I don't think the straight squirrel is as powerful as it once was. But let's find out. Yeah, although there are a ton of squirrels there, just the difference in units here, and plus the fact, well, the army sizes were actually really close before that fight, to be perfectly honest. But again, the variance, like 9 times out of 10, variance is going to win. Like, squirrel, mole, and even numbers, I feel like beats pure squirrel. You know what I mean? There's probably some small exceptions to that rule, but... Alright, here we go. With the boar against pure squirrel. I mean, this is kind of what the boar was designed to deal with, and Pedro's like, oh no! And trying to salvage his army somehow, maybe try to YOLO onto these gristmills, but he's just digging himself in deeper by running away like this. His army's just gonna die for free, and James is going to advance into duel number 5 with all of his lives remaining, making him putting him in the best spot of all the duelists we've seen so far, I believe, even including episode 1, because I think Eel got there with 2 lives left. So no duelists fall to the underworld. Everybody moving on. James is USA, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, I'm not 100% sure. I think he is. And James is looking good right now, man. Maybe James is going to carry the flag for us. But alright, guys, I would love to see another Nation Wars. That's definitely a good idea. So James is going to make it all the way through. Let's take a look at our tracker here. Courtesy of Massive Stealth. Alright, so this is where we're at so far after the second episode. That's it for the games tonight, guys. That completes the second episode of the 12 Duels Season 3. We saw Pyle and Ziggy get eliminated against Pingu. Practically everybody else making it up to Gabany with 2 lives left. Eel, however, advanced up to Tosh with 2 lives left. So I guess there is a chance that James drops a game to Gabany, right? That puts him in the same spot as Eel. So really cool, man. I had a lot of fun streaming tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Next episode is going to be coming up soon. We're definitely going to be doing more content this week. So thanks again, everybody. I hope y'all had a blast. Hop into Tooth and Tail, man. Play. The meta right now is a lot of fun. Rockus Bacchus with the subscription. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. That's really awesome. I do my best to basically put all subscription and donation money from this channel back into the competitive scene, as far as tournament prizes go and stuff. A lot of these events that we do, I hand out prizes out of my own pocket, so I definitely appreciate the support. I'm totally doing good. I don't need donations at all. I'm an engineer and I work full time, but they are appreciated. And know if you do things like subscribe to this channel, you are supporting the Tooth and Tail scene, as you put more money in my pocket to put into Tooth and Tail competitive events. So thanks so much, man. I really appreciate the support. Okay, listen, I do drink carbonated water, all right? Listen, if I'm buying carbonated water, dude, Mass has been roasting me today, man. He has been after it. I'm off my game. I gotta be throwing shade back. Where are my Master insults? But listen, all right. If I use subscription money to buy carbonated water, and then that helps keep my voice fresh for the stream, right? That's still supporting the scene, right? I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. We're gonna keep going. I think I'm streaming on Thursday and Sunday. More 12 Duels stuff. We have a lot of content with this 12 Duels thing, so I apologize if people have submitted replays to the feast. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get another feast out. Maybe if I get a slow week, I can squeeze one in on a Friday night or something. But right now, my schedule is filling up with 12 Duels casting, so expect more content in the near future. That's it for reals. Let's get out of here. Let's end the show. Let's go say hi to Zeno. Del should update my YouTube. That's true. Yeah, Thursday, 7 p.m. EST for episode 3. That is going to be episode 3, gent. Big Pimp Tasash isn't doing anything in between that. Okay. Let's go say hi to Zeno, guys. He's playing WoW right now, but Zeno was a huge part of the Tooth and Tail community for a very long time. Let's give him a raid. Let's throw him a woof. And with that, I'll see you guys back on Thursday. Take care, everybody. Oh, wait. Why did that not work? Did I spell his name wrong? What is happening? Do I not know how to Twitch? Dude, I can't host him. Lowercase? Case shouldn't matter. Why can I not raid this guy? I'm just trying to raid. Master Stealth, help me! I'm flailing! Ah! What am I gonna do? Probably edit this off. Why can't I raid? That's so weird. You got a slash raid. Oh man, thank you. Jeez. I knew that. Bam, there we go. Let's go say hi to Zeno, guys. He's a legend in the Tooth and Tail scene. Give him some love. Let him know we still remember him. And see y'all next time.